She wasn't born and raised in the United States, but she has stayed in the United States. I would think a good portion of her adult life she has been in the United States, but she wasn't born and raised in the United States. Okay, a brown lady, uh, but she wasn't. But so she talked about she's kind of those people that want brown women to get along and all that stuff, and really excuse me, sorry about that. Is pro brown woman, and that's fine. I don't blame her for that. A lot of women are until they find out that brown women can't get along, and then it's like it's all in vain. You can't do anything. That this is what I was talking about, being an activist for any group of people. I don't care if you live in a different continent and you're an activist group for a group of people that's not sharing your same goals, right? They're not sharing your goals. And you don't want to be an activist for a group of people who don't share in your same goals, because it's all in vain. And then when something happened to you, nobody's going to have your back because it's only what you wanted, it's what your ego wanted, but it's not something that the collective people that you call yourself being an advocate for or defending, they're not sharing your sentiments. So it's like, what was it all for? Okay, but I want to say this though. This is where I want to go. So I'm gonna say her name because I don't have anything bad to say about her. I like her channel and I'm subscribed to her channel. Her name is Jessie Woo. I like her. I don't have anything bad to say. Okay, but I was listening to her video. She was talking about how she was on Wildin' Out. I think it was Wildin' Out, and this guy, I guess it was a brown male, talked about you might not realize, but and this is how he said it. Black women hate each other. His words, black women hate each other. And she was like, get out of here. No, they don't. And he was like, yes, they do. As a male, I'm telling you, yes, they do. I'm not disagreeing with him. My question is, how did it get to that point? How did that happen? I'm a little tired of these brown men not understanding that they are a big part of the reason, because I can't leave brown women out of it. But I'm a little tired of them not seeing that they are a big part of the reason why the community is the way it is and why women are the way they are. I'm really tired of them not seeing it. And I can't blame it all on them because each person has to be responsible, right? I can't put everything on them. Some women like to put everything on the men. That doesn't make sense to me because they're giving birth to the men. And so I'm not understanding if these men are, I think they're problematic. Let me just say that. But I'm not understanding continuing to birth them without teaching them a lesson. Like they need to learn to respect their mothers because right now they don't. Now, so Jessie Woo was talking about how this man approached her talking about how brown women hate each other, and then she's like agree at this point. At that time she didn't agree, but now she does. In this day and age she sees it. Well, I can see it too, but my question is, I was born and bred here. I can see how it happened. People who were born before me, they can see how it all happened. To be honest with you, this has been a problem before I was born. In this particular life experience, it's been a problem before I was even born. Because even during the Black Panther Party, like during the 60s, what's that book? I forget her name. It was a book by a lady that was part of the Black Panther Party. Uh, but anyway, she was talking about how they would have these luncheons, right? And during these luncheons, the men were allowed to go eat first. And then the women and children ate last, but the men go and ate first. And if any other woman was to say anything up to these men about why they are going first and the women and children go last, then you will have other women in the Black Panther Party. This was in like not Los Angeles, but like in California, right? You would have other women in the Black Panther Party that would go and check that woman for saying something. So this has been going on before I was born, but what I'm trying to get people to see, those who don't see it, is, where did this come from? It looks like in the community, okay, in the BC, it looks like the brown woman's place is to serve the brown male. The brown woman's place is to serve the brown male. Okay, and if she's not serving the brown male, then she doesn't know her place. She's not supposed to be talking back. Okay, it was one story where this one brown lady was speaking back to another brown male in the Black Panther Party, and he smacked her so hard he knocked her to the ground. And do you know those other brown women couldn't even help her, couldn't defend her, couldn't do nothing? What about the hip hop music? When C. Dolores Tucker waged war against gangster rap music in the 90s. You can even Google, you can like look her up on YouTube. There's videos of her. C. Dolores, I think it's Dloris. I think it's Dolores or Dolores. I don't think it's Dolor. I think it's Dolores, Delor. But anyway, C. Dolores Tucker. Okay, she was a part of the civil rights movement. By the way, with the civil rights movement, brown women and brown men were not supposed to march together. Brown women and brown men were not supposed to march together. The brown men were like up in the front somewhere, and the brown ladies, the brown women, was like stayed in the back. They could not be near so the brown woman was always second class. They were never equal to the brown male. So I just want to talk about, how did this happen? How did this happen? The brown woman, for those who were born and bred here and have roots here that didn't come off a boat, and I'm not saying anything wrong with coming off a boat, but we shouldn't have been lied to. We shouldn't have been lied to, because during my meditations and my third eye is open, I'm never seeing myself coming. I'm never seeing ancestors from Africa. And let me tell you something, that's an insult to say that just because somebody have dark skin, they all have to come from one continent. Do you know that's an insult? That means everybody else is white. That makes the brown skinned people the minority, and everybody else that's non-brown skin the majority. So to say everybody with brown skin come from one continent is an insult. And they need to let that narrative go that every brown skinned person came from Africa. Because when you do that, you limit them only to one land mass, and then you have the pale skinned people who are the majority. Well, we know that's not true. Earth was a black planet, or mostly brown skin, but all, much darker complexions. Some complexions were darker than the shades of brown. Okay. Like they were really black. Okay. So anyway, but getting back to C. Dolores Tucker and how she waged war with gangster rap music. And one particular video that I saw was her talking about Snoop Dogg's album from I think it's 1992. But anyway, it was Snoop Dogg's new album that came out. And it was an album with the cover of a woman with her butt up in the air, doggy style. And she called it pornographic smut. And she said during that time, that's going to ruin the community, denigrating the women and the community, and music that's promoting crime. But they constantly put out, and women went along with it, right? Women went along with it. Yeah, you had that, I wouldn't even call it the boomer generation. The C. Dolores Tucker was more from the silent generation. She was before the boomers. Because I think my parents were before the boomers. Like they were born in the 1940s, and C. Dolores Tucker might have been born in the 1930s. She's before the boomers. And so they saw that music was problematic. I don't think they fought against that music hard enough, but C. Dolores Tucker definitely was doing a lot of footwork, and the Generation X went against C. Dolores Tucker. Even the women, even brown women, tried to fight for the brown male's right to put out that kind of music that denigrated her. She fought for his right, talking about he's oppressed and he want to speak his mind because he's so oppressed. See, they're using that oppression excuse, but at the same time, when you're oppressed, okay, but you speaking your mind, but part of you speaking your mind is calling the brown woman a hoe and a bitch. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. That's your oppression. You need to get that out because you've been oppressed from calling the brown woman a bitch. Is that what oppression is to you? I'm just trying. I just want to get around to what really is causing these brown women to really hate themselves the way they do. Not saying they didn't help participate in it, because you can always have a choice to agree to go along with something. But I'm tired of brown men acting like they didn't have nothing to do with it. But the reason why they keep acting like that, because nobody wants to you hold people accountable when you cut them off. Because yeah, people have spoken up about brown men. People have spoken up, but you hold them accountable when you really just cut them off. I'm really tired of them throwing rocks and hiding their hands and not knowing why things are the way they are. You don't understand why what you would call hood rats. You don't know what caused them to be like that. So growing up in an area, growing up in a neighborhood where there's drive-by shootings every day and a bunch of drug dealing, and you don't know how they grow up the way they do. You don't know how the males grow up the way they do. I don't get why people are not putting that together. Okay. Anyway, but I just want to talk about that briefly. Now, it was a lady in her chat that said it's not true because somebody got in somebody got in Jess Woo's chat, right? And Jess posted highlighted a comment that somebody made and said, no, that's not true because on Pop the Balloon, the brown women were sticking together, and then you had the brown men who had a problem with it. When the brown women were trying to stick together on Pop the Balloon, brown men had a problem with it. Absolutely, they do. They don't like it when brown women unite. They do not like it. When brown women unite, then the brown male complains and talk about how the brown woman forgets about them and how the brown woman don't think about them. Absolutely, that happens all the time. Okay, when there was a Million Man March for brown men, everything was okay. Even the women were cheering them on. But when brown women decided to come together and have a Million Woman March, oh, come on, they were ready to break that up. They were ready. I think it might have happened. I don't know. It wasn't as big as a Million Man March, right? But the men were ready. The brown men were ready to break that up. And so this is what I'm talking about when you have these men who want to talk about, especially brown men, who want to talk about how brown women don't like each other. But then when the minute you see brown women unite, you have a problem and you want to hop in and say, oh, what about me? What about me? Don't forget about me. They love to infiltrate women's spaces. They really do. But then turn around and talk about how they don't get along. You don't want them to get along. You want their attention to be all on you. You want them to be Aunt Jemima. Majority of brown women collectively are Aunt Jemimas. They have the energy of Aunt Jemima. Okay? Constantly thinking about everybody else and not themselves, including white people. They will love white people before they love themselves because that's what they're rooted in, loving everybody else but themselves. And that's why they don't like other brown women that look like them. They will love another white woman, but they won't love another brown woman because they are conditioned to hate themselves. They are conditioned to hate their image. They're conditioned. I mean, when you say a group of women hate each other, I can agree with that, but then we need to get to the root of why that is, because I don't want to just judge a group of women. I want to get to the root of why that is. And I know the root of why it is, and it goes even further than what I'm saying. Right? Like I say, even during the civil rights movement, the brown woman was second class and she was always unprotected. Malcolm X said the most unprotected and neglected and disrespected woman is what he said is the black woman. That's what he said. And so when you're constantly treated like that on the regular, you kind of learn to hate yourself. It's hard not to hate yourself. I don't understand why people don't get it. Because I get it when I have dogs. I have my girl dog has anxiety. And it's almost like the dog is more humanized than the actual human being. So when I have a dog that has problems, I can understand where it comes from, and I can sympathize with my girl dog, and say, well, if she's been going through this and going through this, why will you blame her for having these thoughts of these feelings about herself if this is what she was going through? So when you have a group of women from I don't know when have learned that they're nothing, why is it a surprise that they don't think they're anything? And anybody who look like them, they don't think they're anything either because they learn to hate themselves. They are conditioned, rooted. Like a tree that have deep roots. The self-hatred is deeply rooted in brown women. And the best way for them to get out of that self-hatred is I think they need to leave United States alone. United States has trained them to hate themselves. You cannot stop hating yourself in the United States of America. Like, listen, you look at, because United States of America for brown women, I'm not talking about a brown woman who moved here from somewhere else. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to count you out. But, when you don't understand stuff and you sound a little judgmental, I'm not saying Jesse Wu was being judgmental, but you got to grow up here. I'm sorry. You need to grow up here. You need to grow up here. Because that's like me going to Nigeria and judging the women in Nigeria when I'm a foreigner coming from a foreign nation, but I'm going to Nigeria to judge the women in Nigeria as if I know as if I truly understand what it was like for them to grow up there. You have to really grow up there. Because the truth be told, brown men respect Jamaican women. Brown men respect African women. Brown men respect Haitian women. Brown men respect Dominican women. Brown men respect white women. Brown men respect Latina women. Brown men respect Asian women. Brown men respect every woman other than the brown woman. He respects everybody else except for the brown woman. Now, I'm not going to completely blame that on him because brown women been seeing that and they should have been done something about it. And the fact that they don't is the reason why I do not advocate for them. My point is I get where it comes from. I get where it comes from. But at the same time, I cannot defend them because they got to get to a point where they want to love themselves. They got to get to that point. I'm going to tell you something. It's hard to do in the United States of America. I don't care. It's hard to do in the United States of America. United States of America is poison for the brown woman. The United States of America want to make sure that she stays at the bottom. The United States of America want to make sure that she never feels like she's loved. And when you have that much being forced on you, no diss, but the African woman who comes to the United States is not being forced to hate themselves the way the brown American woman that's from the United States of America. They're the ones being forced to hate themselves, not the African woman who comes to the United States of America. Not her. We really don't have the same experience. We really don't. If I go to Tanzania, I don't have the same experience as the brown women in Tanzania. We share the same complexion, but we do not have the same experience. We just don't. It's just what it is. When I go to India, I have a different experience from those Indian women, and I'm not going to act like I have the same experience as those women. I don't. You got to know somebody's story. You really have to know somebody's story. But anyway, like I said, I've been told a long time ago to stop, do not be an advocate, don't do it. Now, I'm still fascinated with the story and the history of brown women because the brown woman used to be God and she's not God anymore. There's a book that's written by a brown male called When God Was a Brown Woman and Why She's Not Anymore. And I want to read that book and I want to come and discuss it. It was written by a brown male, but I'm going to tell you something. Brown men know a lot. The reason why, and I'm talking about specifically in the United States of America, because, you have men around the world. Oh, yeah, I heard about Haitian men and how they treat their women. It's a huge femicide rate over there. But I don't know that I can't speak from. I've never been to Haiti. I can't speak or somebody experiences. I wasn't born and bred there. I cannot do it. Like I can't speak from their experience, right? Um, but what I will say about the brown American woman, um, I know the reason why the brown men specifically want to make sure that she never knows who she is, that she continues to stay under a spell, because the brown male is the one that makes sure that she stays under a spell. Like the brown men are the one making the laws, and you have other brown women who enforce the laws. And the laws is for the brown women to never, they don't need to ever come together, and they don't even ever need to love themselves, because the minute that happens, they're going to get back into their God selves. And the brown male don't want that to happen, and I don't care. You see it all the time. They don't want that to happen. Yes, it was a time when the brown woman was on the throne, and they don't want that to happen. And that's the reason why it's a constant push to make sure she's at the bottom psychologically and spiritually and everything else. Okay? But anyway, that is it, and I will talk later.